Hey guys, my name is Donnie and welcome back to the channel. And for you that are new to the channel, for the last 2 years or so, I've been working on building a replica of a Jaguar D Type out of aluminium. Guys, I went through a lot of effort to make sure that I built every component of it to the best of my ability, and I documented it and showed you guys everything that I did to where I am at the moment. And guys, a couple of weeks ago we had a local car show, and I decided that I was going to take the car to the local car show as a work in progress. But before I took it to the show, I decided that I was going to give the car another coat of paint, a fresh coat of paint, and make it look absolutely stunning. But guys, unfortunately, disaster struck. And the result of that is that I took the car and I parked it back in the shop, and I put a big fat cover on top of it, and I left it standing there because I was just so devastated of what happened. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to take the cover off and show you guys what my problem is. And you guys might think for a second that this is only clickbait, but the devil is in the details. Alrighty guys, so this is what the car looks like at the moment, and standing from here it might look absolutely beautiful, and in my opinion it was probably one of the better paint jobs that I've ever done. It is a little bit dusty at the moment and it probably needs a bit of a polish still, but apart from that the car looks stunning. And guys, as you know, I opted to go for the British Racing Green, and it's supposed to be a very muted and dull color. But when you come closer and you look at the paint, you can actually see that there seems to be dust particles in the paint. I don't know if it's possible to see that on the camera, but it looks as if there are dust particles in the paint. And guys, what happened is that the people that mixed the paint for me, and it's partly my fault because I was in a heck of a rush and I put a lot of pressure on them, is that it seems as if they accidentally mixed gold flake instead of yellow pigment into the green paint, and that causes this whole car to look as if it's got dust all over it, which is absolutely devastating. And guys, the result is, and what that means is that I'm gonna have to repaint this car for a third time if I want to resolve this issue. But I'll be honest with you, it could have probably been much worse. They could have, for instance, mixed something into the paint that had a bad reaction with the paint and just ruined the paint completely, and I had to strip it down to aluminium again. But for me, this is kind of devastating because it means I'm gonna have to strip off everything again and repaint it at some stage so that I can have a perfect replica of a D Type. But the fact is that the show must go on, and guys, I was thinking, to get myself in good spirit again, what I really want to do is I want to see if I can get it started. So if I can get it started in this video, it might just give me the extra oomph to continue working on this car. And there's a couple of things that I still need to put in place for me to start it, and we're starting right now. So as you guys know, to get an engine started you need to have 3 things in order. That's the air, fuel and spark. If you've got those 3 things in order, you might just be able to start the engine. Now the air department on this engine is run by the carburetors. It's got 3 carburetors that mixes the air going into the engine. I need to sort that out. The fuel department is that I need to install a fuel line all the way from the fuel tank and fuel pump to the front so that I can have fuel delivered to the carburetors. And then the third thing is the spark department, and that is that I need to sort out all of this electrical wiring so that I can energize that coil over there so that I can give spark to all 6 cylinders. I'm going to start my day with the carburetors. As you guys know, I had to remove this carburetor so that I could install the steering shaft for the car, and on the original car it was running on Weber carburetors instead of these SU carburetors, which made life a little bit easier. But the problem with this setup is that this steering shaft is in the way of this carburetor. It cannot go all the way to the intake manifold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a set of spacers so that I can move these carburetors away from the intake manifold, and then hopefully this shaft will not interfere with this carburetor. Now the original car did come with a set of spacers in between the carburetor and the manifold, but they're a little bit thin, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to attempt to make a new set of spacers using this beautiful piece of aluminium that's just a little bit thicker. And if I can do that and it's successful, I'll install it in the car. Alright guys, check it out. I've now installed these new spacers on the carburetors and they are looking pretty. And I also went ahead and connected all three of these carburetors so that they open and close simultaneously. And that means that I've now resolved the first of my three issues, and that is the air department. So now I can move on to the fuel department and then the spark department. And guys, I'm going to address those issues off camera because I need to run a fuel line and an electrical wire all the way to the back, connect it, and try and sort out this heck of a mess. And it's not going to make for good video, so I'm going to do it off camera. So in the next scene, you're going to see me having resolved all those issues and having put a battery on the car, and we can see if we can get it started. Alrighty guys, check it out. I've now installed a new fuel line from the tank to the carburetors, and I installed new fuel lines in between the carburetors to connect them all. And I then threw in about 3.5 liters worth of fuel, or a gallon, which is kind of scary because it means that there's now going to be action on this car. And I then went through this wiring harness and I just made sure that there was continuity where there should be, and that there wasn't any short circuits that might just blow everything up. And I then put a battery in here temporarily with a ground lead, and I am now at a point where I can connect this battery and see if there's going to be life in the system. Now, full disclosure guys, I haven't checked anything except for that there isn't any short circuits that I know of, and I don't even know if the fuel's going to pump through to the carburetors. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this camera on the stand, and you guys and I are going to see for the first time even whether this thing cranks or not. Now bear in mind that there aren't any exhausts on this engine yet, so it's probably going to be very noisy if it starts. I kind of doubt that it's going to start the first time around. And secondly, I haven't connected any water to the system yet, so I cannot run it for too long. But let's give it a go and see what happens. Whew. So far so good. Fuel pump's running. Sounds like it's pumping fuel. I don't know. Let's see if it's gonna crank over. The engine turns, that's... I think that's already a win. The engine's turning around. I actually smell fuel. Burnt fuel.
Ek wou net kom kyk het want ewe skielik hoor ek 'n stem bo die geluid uit.
Oh my goodness guys, well that was unexpected. I didn't think it was gonna start that easily. I didn't even do anything and it just started up basically the first time. That is a load off my shoulders. Man, I'm so happy about that guys. Phew. That means that I can now rest assured that the engine does start. It sounds like it's running on all 6 cylinders, and I can now move on to the next step, which is probably going to be installing the exhaust. But that's only going to be in the next video. So guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate it very much. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Cheers!